Yo, it's Austin, and today we're gonna talk about guilty pleasures.
Have you ever played a game that's, well, pretty embarrassing to play? Like those games that have those really cringy cutscenes, you know, talking about the power of friendship before beating the shit out of a demigod. Yeah, they're pretty great. Now, a lot of these have those specific moments that are just a bit wonky. Maybe you're tossed a small bit of fan service, maybe a cutscene has some amazingly terrible voice acting. The spectrum for this is pretty large.
Dinner, 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 dinner.
Well, how about an entire game? That's right, an entire game where you're afraid of someone walking in on you. Not because it's bad or anything, but because under the layer of embarrassment lies an amazing game. No, I'm not talking about your nostalgic fling with some random platformer. I'm talking about Onechanbara ZII Chaos. Yeah, the entire game. One look at the screen during any point of this and your friends are gonna be like, oh, you bought this? Damn right I bought this! I thought it was gonna be bad! But instead, underneath the no layers, is actually a super fun character action game with a decent amount of customization, high amounts of replayability, and a stupidly memorable story. So, Onechanbara is a part of this Japanese line of budget-priced games called the Simple series. Historically, D3 Publisher only put out cheap licensed titles with the occasional Earth Defense Force over here in the States, but overseas it's totally different. The Japanese Simple games are, as the name implies, very inexpensive, cheap as fuck games. Things like Mahjong, Casino, Solitaire, Sniper. Then they started making these games with giant bikini-clad girls attacking cities, and suddenly things weren't so simple anymore. The original Onechanbara is a spin on the words Onechan and Chanbara, meaning roughly big sister sword fighter. Well, I guess that's pretty simple after all. Minus the hordes of zombies, fountains of bloods, and fucked up everything! This game wasn't released in the United States, neither was the sequel, but we did get the next ones on the Xbox 360 and Wii. These games suck. Like, a lot. The fate of the beloved Onechanbara franchise was up in the air as the next few games failed to make it out of Japan. Then out of fucking nowhere, the most recent edition, Onechanbara ZII Chaos, found its way not only to the PS4, but to American and European shores. That's right, dead game developer Psygnosis, here's another great game for the PS4 Master Race. It is, good, right? The trailer makes it kinda hard to tell, minus the fact that it's giving off Suda51 vibes. And I'm one of those motherfuckers who adored Lollipop Chainsaw and Shadows of the Damned, so Onechanbara seems like it might squeeze in there nicely. So I bought the collector's edition, the Banana Split Limited Edition. Inside was the game, of course, a collection of songs from the game's soundtrack, and an art book. I think the cover says it all. We also got some costume DLC, which, well, I should probably put this away after I redeem the code. Okay, quick disclaimer. There's a lot of titties in this game. It's fucking stupid and not necessarily what I would have done, but it's a thing. Call it a stylistic choice, call it a pervert game, whatever. Onechanbara is much more than bouncy bosoms and dumb cowboy hats. It's got relatively complex combat mechanics and a deep story involving the fate of the world.
Shit! Knock!
Are you looking at one of them hentais, like Mars Attacks?
First off, it's Invasion of the Booby Snatchers, Mom. Second off, this is Onechanbara ZII Chaos. Learn the lore.
So yeah, the story here is pretty simple and, well, I lied, kinda stupid. You got four main characters, sisters Kagura and Seiya, and other sisters Aya and Saki. These ones are the vampires, and those ones are the baneful. They're all mad at each other initially, but then things happen, and there's a zombie outbreak. Again, it's stupid, but who cares? It's like a B-movie, so you have to enjoy it at face value. And if you do, well, strap yourself in. Because Onechanbara ZII Chaos is all about the gameplay. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, stressing the quality of gameplay over anything else, but considering these are video games, it kinda makes sense. So essentially, Onechanbara Z2 takes a step above the originals and goes full mobility-influenced character action, which is a genre I've been pretty into lately. The sheer amount of control you have over these four girls is absurd. So, you have actions that are more powerful depending on rhythmic presses, dashing, dodging, stomping, chasing, and crazy attacks called ecstasy combinations. It's a lot, and it might be a bit overwhelming overwhelming at times. But every loading screen gives you the entire list of commands and actions to read through if you need a reminder. On top of this, you can actually change between the 4 girls mid-combat. Each one has their own set of weapons and combos, all upgradable with the in-game currency, so you can spread your efforts to make them all equally powerful or pick your favorites and go with it. You're gonna need them all though, because guess what? You get to use all 4 of them simultaneously! When using an ecstasy combination, that girl is locked down while performing the attack, so you can then quickly switch to another character to keep that combo meter moving. Or if you've been in combat long enough, it's possible to summon them as fighters in the arena you're in as AI. When a certain little meter fills up, reach awkwardly to that touchpad button and tap it to bring out everyone and cause fucking chaos. Oh, one more thing, transformations? I don't know how, but like the vampires in Baneful Blood can do that. So, there. That's a lot, isn't it? And I skimmed over a few of the smaller details as well. Rather than go with the Ninja Gaiden approach of weighty and consequential combat, Onechanbara decided to go full spectacle action on us. While that might make the game seem simple and boring, it allows the player to practically wrestle his controller to death while looking flashy as fuck. You feel super powerful in the enemy arena sections, and bosses are where the real challenges start. And I'm okay with this. It takes the Dynasty Warriors approach of letting the player feel super powerful without making boss encounters just damage sponges. Another game to do this well recently was Transformers Devastation, but the sheer amount of control Onechanbara gives the player puts it a step forward. It's not going to hold your hand and auto-lock on to every single target on the screen, you're going to have to assume control. So as far as gameplay goes, Onechanbara fucking nails it. On top of the very replayable campaign, you also have a bunch of separate missions that you can complete. This is very standard for the genre, but here you're going to unlock accessories, costumes, and hairstyles for the girls. They give the player a bit too much customization, though. You got like 10 slots, and you can change the size and axis of everything. I feel kinda gross doing this, especially with the groovy porno music in the background. But the progress of unlocking visual customization via missions has always been something I've enjoyed ever since Soul Calibur 3. It's a shame that Aya and Kagura are just giant titty monsters with dumb cowboy hats. At the very least, the guys at D3 gave them strong personalities to go with their strong abs. Sure, they're very one-dimensional, but I love me some sass, and Kagura is the sassiest vampire I've ever seen. Speaking of, the voice acting here isn't actually all that bad.
Even without any water, I can just hydrate myself with blood. So, do your worst, desert.
I think one of the only things in this entire package that I'd consider a negative is the extreme fan service. When I say extreme, I mean extreme. Any reason for a panty shot, let's go for it. Also, I guess we could talk more about the outfits, because the hypersexualization of these characters is probably the biggest turnoff for a majority of people who might lay eyes on this game. Frankly, it's incredibly shameless, adds nothing to the story or the characters, and I can't explain a reason for its existence that doesn't involve body pillows. It's strange too, because the other characters, Saki and Saya, are wearing pretty normal outfits. The armored bikinis of Aya and Kagura just seem out of place in the world by comparison. Did I mention the dumb cowboy hats? This is a huge shame, as underneath 40 pounds of boobies exists an incredibly engaging action game. One that I would recommend to just about anyone. I mean, you don't have to unlock the banana split costume, but you know, if you want, you can put everyone in it and satisfy your craving of girls covered in fruit and zombie blood. I kind of like it, you know. Don't get me wrong, I've got no issue with characters being designed as sexy. It just feels very out of place in this giant war of zombies and vampires. Okay, maybe it doesn't need to make sense. Besides, who doesn't like titties? The characters definitely look a little strange in game though, especially when compared to their concept art. It's very softly colored and lighthearted, while the in-game renders went for a realistic look, which doesn't work with the fucking hair! It makes me wonder what the game would look like visually with a light cell shading. And in terms of gameplay, it can be a bit repetitive at times. You're shoved into corridors to fight waves of enemies that can be completely brain dead, making the mechanics seem a little grand for what you're up against. Thankfully, I see this as more of a speed and combo affinity challenge, so these things make sense. Also, zombies are brain dead. Duh. But I think my favorite thing about my entire experience with Onechanbara has to be a majority of the original soundtrack. Considering that the game came with a copy, I've had it running in the background lately. Certain tracks are so energetic and are sure to get your blood pumping. They range from a fast-paced J-pop sound to heavy-hitting metal riffs and piercing melodies, or girls rapping. Somehow, Onechanbara is able to pull everything together into a very interesting package. Questionable visual design choices aside, this silly as hell story is packed with incredibly engaging gameplay. And that's Onechanbara Onechanbara Z2 Chaos in a nutshell. It would be really cool to see D3 Publisher take the combat system from this, refine it further, and toss it into a more interesting franchise, but this will do for now. Oh, this will do.
So if you're into having a weird ass time and don't mind strange looks from your friends and family, I would definitely pick up Onechanbara. Sure, it has its flaws here and there, but I think it's absolutely worth it. Hey Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Sure, sweetie.
Yes!
Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you can see more videos from us at Arcadea here in the future. And also, we actually just opened up a Twitch account over at twitch.tv/Arcadia Live. We're gonna be streaming a lot over there, including the old Boku no Workout streams I used to do, so make sure to get your butts over there, please.
We gotta have a party tonight.